Hello, everyone. Our topic is on the problem of nurse burnout and nurse retention. It is by Michelle Holt, Stephanie Wardwell, and Brittany Yearsley. And let's get started.
So what's the problem? The biggest problem with nurse retention is there's such a high demand right now of any and all nurses. We have such a shortage all over the world and nationally of not having the amount of caretakers we need to decrease the amount of burnout that we as nurses experience in the workplace. The biggest thing that was interesting is bullet number 3, where in an article it talks about in 2025 the workforce will be short 260,000 nurses. And already seeing how short we are in nurses and seeing that number just draws a big red flag as to really how many good and knowledgeable nurses we are in need of. Research. So nurse retention has many contributing factors, which there's not just one answer to it. I feel like this is an ongoing issue that's been reoccurring consistently over the years. It just puts stress on the system because you have nurses who will come in either brand new and it's just too much on them and the stress is too extreme, and so then they quit. So then that puts stress on the current workers who kind of pick up the slack for that nurse that is no longer working there until they can find a replacement and so on. And then that's where a decrease of quality of healthcare happens, and also safety becomes an issue as well. There's many stakeholders that are involved in the workplace with nursing burnout. You have your nurses, your nurse managers, your educators, your directors, your administrators, your patients, consumers, and physicians all play a big part in the role of taking care of the patients and providing a safe workplace. So there's been a lot of successful change options that could be included. This diagram to the right is a lot of the focuses they've been incorporating or trying to incorporate in the system. So you have mentorship. They have a 5-year career pathway. They have academic progression, shared governance, resilience, recognition, and leadership development. And a lot of these are focusing on building confidence and competencies in the workplace. Us as being new grads or relatively new grads, for a lot of us, we're trying to build that and become more aware of what to do in situations, how to work in the workplace and with others in different leadership styles, and just being oriented to being a nurse. Whereas on the other end, the nurses that have been there for a while, they're trying to accommodate with us who are new nurses, but also be updated on new policies and procedures and develop new systems of working in that certain environment. There's so many tools to us as nurses to be up to date and be a part of these possibilities of helping keep the retention of nurses at a good level so that we're not being overworked as well. And this is just a continuation of that same slide about some of the programs that do observations, reviews, and coaching based on what they find out in those studies of how to help us nurses and the staffing in general to stay on a plateau frame so that we're not having those burnout moments. For policy change, outcomes, and goals, biggest thing is we need support. And by having that support, I know I've had a difference in management where you feel supported at times, and then other times you kind of are on your own and have to figure out how to take care of yourself as well as your patients, and it can be a trial in itself. But the goal ultimately is to improve our patient outcomes and make sure that they're taken care of and getting the quality of care that they deserve so they can get better and go home and have that great experience of recovery. Consequences to existing policies. So policies vary from hospital to hospital. I know right now we have a lot of hospitals who are asking nurses to be able to be switched back and forth from various levels depending on the needs of the unit or of the facility. And that's another reason that support and also communication needs to be a high priority in helping students or nurses become less stressed because of being in a new environment and seeing a new culture and new facility and new policies. I like how it talks a lot about financial feasibility and why nurse retention is so important, especially for the income benefits. It just costs, the average cost of turnover for bedside RN is $37,000 to $58,000 roughly to retain a new bedside RN, which is quite a bit of money. It's about what we make in a year. So makes a huge difference. A quote that we found in the research we looked in was, caregivers who suffer from burnout syndrome and compassion fatigue tend to lose the human aspect associated with medical care. Upwards of 70% of nurses reporting some degree of burnout, causing them to detach both personally and professionally. It's so vital that we as nurses get that time to separate ourselves from the workplace and to just have that time to decompress and relieve ourselves of the stress or the anxiety or the depressive state we may be in, to be able to then go back out and be re-energized and be able to do the work that we know how to do. I know so many nurses who either have the opportunity to get breaks, but they choose not to because they feel like they'll get behind, and so that they'll leave later in the shift, so they won't go home on time. Or there's ones that absolutely do not have any time whatsoever to even sit down and have a snack because it's just been one of those days. So incorporating some type of plan to make sure that we as nurses are getting just even a short break to just, like I said, recuperate from the workday. A lot of implementation of interventions that are being set or have been set out there to improve this nurse retention. Especially for new grads, they have, like we talked about earlier, the mentorship. So someone that's there to lead and guide them, and the steps to making good habits and developing those skills more fully to be more confident. There's development programs, environmental changes, recognition is a good one. It's a huge, it's always nice to hear that you're doing a great job and you're making a difference in the workplace, because sometimes we don't feel like we're being seen for the work we do. So that's always a positive impact in our lives. And then team building opportunities. That way you can get knowledge base from other nurses around you to kind of help you along the way, or even just building the team aspect where if you're really overworked that day and you need someone else to help you, that you can rely on them to step in when needed. Can this policy recommendation work? Yes. It can improve so much with the retention and making sure that we're not being or surpassing our limit. Improved in quality of work environment, such increased autonomy and recognition lead to increased professional satisfaction. And then effectiveness, how will we see that? Over time, it would take some time to just see the trends and see what's working, because all of us deal with stress differently. And being open with our management, being open with our staff members about what's working, what's not, and then building a focused plan on what can be implemented to help, and then seeing how it works over time. And then just be willing to help others in need as we develop our skills as a nurse. There will be consistently things that either we are not as comfortable with or as good at, and rely on others and be able to be teachable, and vice versa, be able to teach those who have weaknesses as well to really improve the quality in the workplace. And then there's our references. Hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. Thank you so much.